Speaking of music, my shout out for this week, and again, it's like I said to you, Simon, even before this happened, this was probably going to be my shout out, and that's Kendrick Lamar's halftime show. Oh my God! I mean, Kendrick is my favorite artist in general. I've seen him live twice, and I dropped an obscene amount of money to go see him again this year. Because I don't know, it's just like everything the man does turns to gold, at least in my eyes, and that was true with this performance. I loved every second of it. I loved the extra artistry he brought to it. I thought the stuff with Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam was just like, it was both such a fun bit, like just seeing that was just fantastic, but also the kind of thematic element too, in terms of like with Kendrick, there's always a lot of like dichotomy in his music and like an internal kind of struggle between two sides. And even in this like 13-minute performance, he still managed to have some aspects of like, am I doing this for like, because he's very much like about like the culture and the artistry part of it versus like the commercialism and like I'm playing on the biggest stage in the world, like which side do I go to? And then Samuel L. Jackson is kind of like the voice of that, where it's like, oh, you're being like too ghetto or whatever what he said, and then it's like, oh no, this is what America wants, just do more of this. And then there's the whole like not like us part of it, right, where he's teasing it all along, and he's like am I gonna get sued for this? I don't know. And it's like the little looks he gives at the camera. I don't know. I was just like, yeah. And then it leads up to this moment, which I think no matter if you liked the halftime show, if you like Kendrick Lamar or not, I think everybody can appreciate this moment in particular. The the fact that Kendrick got like thousands, tens of thousands of people to scream A minor on the Super Bowl stage, broadcast to hundreds of millions of people. Even if you don't like the rest of the halftime show like I did, even if you think it was shit, you got to at least give him that he got hundreds upon hundreds of millions of people to see him call Drake a pedophile in the Super Bowl. Like, that was fantastic. And I think that was just kind of the cherry on top of what was otherwise a great performance. I'm obviously biased as a huge Kendrick fan, but that was my favorite Super Bowl halftime performance that I've ever seen. Again, very biased in that, but I loved it.
I will preface by saying that Kendrick Lamar is about as far away from my favorite type of music as you can get. I am a country guy. I like to listen to like the fucking garbage little country songs. That's my type of thing. And I will fully admit that I actually really liked it. I thought it was really good. I was a pretty big fan. I thought it was really cool. It's funny too. I went into it not really knowing what to expect. I could have given less shits about that entire thing as it was starting. I was very prepared to get up and go make nachos. And then he just kept pump faking, not like us, the entire time. I thought it was terrific. And I will always be on the side of outing a pedophile on live television. That's great. That's terrific. I'm all for that. That's fucking art right there. Oh, no, I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I was a fan.
Okay, I'm glad you liked it. I was kind of going into it again, knowing your music taste and just kind of knowing that the rap part of it probably wasn't for you. But I'm glad it still got your attention. I mean, I think
I think
not like it's pretty like, universal.
Yes, I could appreciate like the kind of undertones of it, and like I don't think I have to actually like the music, and it doesn't have to be the thing that it's not like I'm gonna go listen to Kendrick Lamar now, because I'd be lying if I told you that. But like but I can still appreciate the art behind it. I can appreciate the message behind it, because I think that he had a lot of important things that he said in it through a lot of the different imaging he used, and a lot of Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam I fucking love that.
Yeah.
I love Samuel L. Jackson, so I loved every second of that bit. But no, I thought it was terrific. I honestly, compared to a lot of the ones that I've seen in the last little bit, I like that a lot more than Usher's. You're a
Yeah.
Weekend guy, right? I like that way more
Yes.
than the Weekends. I thought that was way like 1,000
Yes.
times better than that.
I
Whatever
remember that
fucking
conversation,
garbage
and I was actually ready to come into this like
yeah,
to defend that, like I had to defend the Weekend's
yeah.
halftime show.
Oh, I thought the
Um,
Weekends was garbage. But like,
I mean, I obviously like Kendrick better, but I'll still defend that one.
it's
I
just
still
a
think
man
The
getting
Weeknd did a
lost
good
in
job.
fucking mirrors. Who cares?
That was cool. That was cool.
Oh, that was
I thought
so
it was a
fucking
cool
lame.
set piece.
Oh,
I thought it
God.
was a cool ass set piece, but
Yeah, sure. But like, I mean, I will say, like, most of the rap and hip hop stuff that we've seen in the Super Bowl have been pretty cool. Like, I can't, was it Eminem's show or was it? I don't remember who
yes,
actually did.
it was the that was like the posse kind of like where they got
Right.
they got all the West Coast kind of hip hop guys
Yeah.
where they got Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Kendrick.
Yeah.
It's technically a second time.
Was
And like
he?
Mary J. Blige or whatever.
Oh, I
And
didn't
that
know
was a
Kendrick
good.
Lamar was in that one. I actually don't remember that, but
He
I
was
thought that
good
was
for a
really good
very
too.
short period of time.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no,
Well,
that one was another good one.
yeah, like I will say that I think most of the recent rap ones blow all of the other ones that we've had out of the park. Like
Yes,
for the most part. Like I like most of the pop ones have been really shit in my opinion. Like that's
I think-
as
yeah.
as I'm not a rap guy at all. I hate pop 1,000 times more. So I will happily listen to all of that over pop any day of the week. I'll take that.
Okay. You know, I think you're kind of onto something. Not that I hate pop, because I like pop music too. Like I can get down with some pop music, but I think it's more so just in the pop artists that they're choosing. Where it's like
Yes.
in the rap one, they've done very good about like who they chose. Kendrick was very much like at the top of his game this year and very topical with all the Drake disses.
True,
And like
yeah.
if there was any year to pick Kendrick, it would be this year. Same thing with like the West Coast hip hop people, where it's like the Super Bowl's in California. You're getting all of these people together to make like something that's greater than the sum of its parts. Whereas the pop people, it's like Usher. Was the time to pick him 2024? No, it was 2004.
Yeah.
Like
I was
Shakira
gonna
in
say as
2020.
well.
Like
Okay, I actually didn't hate the Shakira one. the
that
Shakira
one
one
wasn't
was
terrible,
good.
but
Yeah.
it was still a little bit out of the time of her prime
True.
potentially.
No, true. That's true.
They tried to
I,
get people a little late.
Yes. No, but I would make, you know what's the funny thing? I would say the same thing about like if we're going to use the term West Coast rappers. That I think was the one case where I actually think it helped them.
Yeah.
That it was kind
Yes,
of a more
I would agree.
retro thing. Because I can't remember the last time I saw like an Eminem performance, for example, that was like that. Where like it was very cool. Like it definitely it was like paying like homage to that type of thing instead of like
Yes.
pretending that it's 2004 with Usher. Like
Exactly. Because it was a cultural event. It wasn't about necessarily one artist. That's why it's so easy to forget that like Kendrick was in there, because it was just to showcase like,
like
well, he's the next up and comer in that scene, not necessarily that this is about Kendrick.
yeah, oh, I had no fucking clue. But
Yeah.
like yeah, I don't really know how you fix it, to be honest with you, because I don't think the answer is to just bring in Kendrick every year.
I'd be so down with that. Give it to me. Give it to me. Come on, Jay-Z, you know.
I don't really think that this is fixing the Super Bowl like halftime show. I just think that if there is a lesson at all behind it, is that it needs to have a little bit of like, it has to have some sort of substance behind it. You know what? Actually,
Yes.
if you want a real reason that I probably like this halftime show more than a lot of the previous ones, is because my big nitpick with a lot of pop music and stuff, and this is like my old head music like take in my opinion. I like music that has meaning behind it. So I was able to appreciate this halftime show, even if I don't necessarily enjoy every second of the music, just because it actually had a message behind it. And then when you watch Usher's,
Yeah.
I truthfully, I don't remember.
He's
a
roller
single
skating
fucking
and grinding up on Alicia Keys and like I don't know.
I don't
Like,
remember that at all.
yeah.
I don't. I don't. No, I don't remember. No. Yeah.
No, I mean, because you're right, because it didn't have any substance, and I think that's what I appreciated about Kendrick's as well. Like, again, it's about the artistic vision of it.
Yeah.
I read an article that was talking about how like involved Kendrick was in this process. They interviewed people who like do like the sets and everything, like help the artist organize the halftime show every year. They did an interview with them, and they talked about how Kendrick kind of came in and he had a vision for what he wanted, and he was very clear in terms of how he wanted this to go and how he wanted it to be laid out. And they talked about how some artists, they didn't name them obviously, but they were like, some artists come in and they're like, okay, what are we doing? And they expect like the team to do it all for them, and they're like, how are we going to set this up? And they have no idea what they want to do. I think it doesn't really matter what artist you get and what genre. Like, you could get like if it's a popular enough, even if it's a popular enough country singer, but where just like the artistry is there and the intentionality is there, to where we're going to make a show and it's going to be thematic and it's going to connect and it's still going to be something you can relate to, like as a country fan.
Yeah.
Outside of the genre, like if it's a hip hop show, you can still relate to it as a country fan, or if it's a country show and I can still relate to it as a hip hop fan. That's, I think, where it's like, that's how you sell it, because that's what can kind of connect it all.
There needs to be something human and not just like Katy Perry flying around on like attached to like a plane or something. I don't even know. Man.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
Like it gets to the point where like I actually do think that people have begun to get bored of the theatrics behind it. Like I don't think people want to just see something crazy anymore because we're almost used to it. Like I think people at this point just want to see something that's different, and I think Kendrick did deliver that. I will give him credit for that. Like I think it's not like anything that we've really seen before, and that's exactly why it worked. Like I think that if he tried to, I don't know, like it's as simple as that, frankly. Like if he tried to do the same thing where like Kendrick Lamar's singing Not Like Us while like flying through the air or something, I don't know. Like I will say the only thing that would have made it better is if he like stomped like a giant like thing of like he's flying through the air on like a rocket propelled like jetpack or something, and he like kicks a giant Drake face like
it's like
the air,
burning a Drake effigy and like
and then it explodes like that. There you go. That could have been the Super Bowl theatrics, but I mean he didn't need it, so there you go.
No, but that one look he gave to the camera was worth the jetpack. Yeah, it was more impactful than a jetpack.
I will say my worry while watching it was that he wasn't gonna actually do it. That was the thought in my head. I was like, God, he's gonna tease it, and he's gonna just keep on teasing it, and then he's just not gonna do it. He's gonna like because he doesn't want to get sued. I'm so happy he did it. Because I will say if he didn't do it, I wouldn't have liked it as much.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It would have felt disappointing.
Yeah,
because there was the one time where he really teased it, where he was like, "I want to perform their favorite song, but you know they like to sue me."
Yeah,
and that's when I thought, I was like, "Oh, maybe he's actually not going to do it," because they played the beat for like 1 second and then dropped out of it, and I was like, "Oh, is that all we're gonna get?" But then he followed through, and it's like, okay, yeah. Because if he didn't, I think you're right. Even as a Kendrick fan, I would have been a little bit disappointed, because it's like. You can't cast that out and then not reel it back in.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think he did just need to do it. It needed to happen. But yeah. To move on, my shout out is a lot less cool. It was more just something that I think is very funny and will be a lot funnier if there's a lot of things that I think will be really funny if Team Canada sucks at Four Nations. I'm not saying I'm cheering for them to lose, because I am Canadian and I want them to win. I'm very excited to watch them play. All I'm saying is that we might have a lot of content for Trick Play if they lose. That's assuming. But regardless, I'm sure, Caleb, you heard Uyghur's comments about when Petrangelo got hurt, and Team Canada was obviously looking for another defenseman. He said something along the lines of, I've got a really, really nice vacation to Mexico, and I'm hovering over the cancel button. If they call me, I'll be there. That's basically what he said. I just thought it was awesome that with everything kind of starting, we're recording this on it's Tuesday. I don't know what day it is. It's Tuesday, February 11th. It was kind of like the practice day, and it was like the photo day and all of that. And Uyghur posted this on his Instagram story, just showing where he is during this entire thing. And I thought that was great because I think, especially again, if Canada loses, this entire thing is going to be really funny because the fact that they chose a Drew Doughty, who's coming off of only a few games played, coming off a major injury, over a lot of guys, not only Uyghur. I'm defending Uyghur. I bring up Uyghur a lot because I'm a Flames fan, but there were a lot of players I would have picked over Doughty. I would have taken Chris Tanev over Doughty. Like, I think there was a lot of more deserving players that should have gone, but Drew Doughty got it because boys club. But yeah, regardless.
Yeah. And you almost think, like, I read an article about kind of like the lost Olympians of this era where there hasn't been any international competition for NHLers for so long. And I'm pretty sure Drew Doughty was in Sochi.
Yep.
But you almost wonder if it's like this guy should have been a Team Canada legend for those prime years of his career. Like, he should have gone to 2018 and he should have balled out there. And you almost wonder if that's kind of the reason why. Because there was a really good article talking about that and talking about how, like, Steven Stamkos has never played for Team Canada in the Olympics because he was hurt when they went in Sochi. Then 2018 happened, and then 2022 with COVID. So he's never played. And the likelihood that he'll get in 2026 is dubious.
No.
So I wonder if it's, it's almost like it's one of those kind of things where it's like, is that the reason why they put in Doughty? Because they're like, you gotta like throw him a bone because he should have had more Olympics.
Okay,
Who knows?
I get that, but like, he had two, like he has 2 gold medals already. Like, I get where you're coming from, but like, he already has 2 gold medals, and you could say the same if you're trying to throw a bone to a veteran. Chris Tanev's a guy who's getting up there in age.
Yeah,
he would have been nice to see him play in this type of tournament. I don't know. I'm trying to remember who the other name was on there that I kept seeing brought up for Canada. I'm blanking right now. Oh shit. Oh, it's gonna come back to me later, and it's gonna piss me off too, because there was another guy who was arguably above Uyghur, like on the rankings, and definitely above Doughty, there was another guy who absolutely got robbed of an opportunity, but I'm just not coming to me right now. But
yeah,
regardless,
no, that's why I bring up that other argument, because otherwise it's kind of nonsensical. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. That's just the truth of it. I think that. I think it's just unfortunate for a lot of players who are missing out on an opportunity for the boys club, because that is kind of what it is at the end of the day. There's no real other argument. Like, I'm just happy he didn't steal the 8 from Makar, because that would be insane. Like, I think if they called him in one day into his trip to Mexico, comes in and just goes, "Hey bud, you're wearing 89." Like, steals Makar's 8, steals his A as well, like, just steals his spot on the power play. Like, there's so many, it could have been worse, I guess, is the argument I am trying to make, because truthfully it wouldn't have been that surprising if he swept in like the hero that Drew Doughty is and took the A off of him. Like, it could have happened. Like, and truthfully, I don't think it would have surprised that many people, but obviously, I think there's a lot more branding issues that would have been there if they chose to take an A off someone this late. But who knows? I think that I just think the whole thing's really stupid. I think that Canada is going to regret a lot of its roster decisions if things go the way that things are predicted to go. So
yeah, maybe we'll be talking about that in a week. Who knows?
Probably will be, but
maybe
we'll
yeah.
And
we'll see how the game goes tomorrow. As of recording this, you watching this might have some insight into that.
True. True. I mean, I will say, as pessimistic as I have been, yes, this will be out before this podcast episode. In the win column, I work for the win column. In case people watching the podcast don't know that, that's a Calgary Flames news column paper. I don't know what they're called these days. It's the modern age, but they did like a round table. Everybody gave their predictions. I predicted Canada to win. We'll see what happens.
Wow.
as pessimistic as I've been,
Homer.
yeah, bit of a homer pick. But I still think that the offense might be able to pull them through it and maybe hide a few weaknesses. I think that, although I will say, I think if Canada wins this, I think it will not be good for what happens in the Olympics in 2026. Because I think what Canada needs more than anybody else is a big old kick in the ass. But because I do think that if they get absolutely whooped by the U.S., which is definitely the most likely thing, I think they'll go into 2026 and that Olympics a lot more seriously and
Right.
give us a much better performance. But who knows?
That's what happened. That's what happened in that, like when the NHL first came to the Olympics, right? In 1998, the Canadians came in all, like we're the best in the world at this, and then they got their ass handed to them a little bit, and they came out in 2002 with a little bit more of a fire and a little bit more of a like we actually have to earn this. So I think you're right, because in the grand scheme of things, that 2026 gold will be more important than this, and you almost think.
In the grand scheme of things, it just is. There's so many people. You know what the biggest conversation is that I've heard from a lot of people around the NHL in the last little bit is whether or not people are actually taking this seriously and whether people actually give a shit about this tournament at all, or if it's just going to be another all-star replacement, basically. Because that's what it is. At the end of the day, if you want to talk about what is actually happening here, it's a lazy attempt to put a World Cup in the All-Star break. That's kind of what it is. Like, because there's only 4 teams. There's about 1,000 reasons that the players don't need to try. Like, they're just trying to do something else so that we don't have to watch a bunch of players not try for two days.
I will say I do think the players care, and I do think they will try.
I hope so.
I think this will be a comparable level to like international hockey that we've seen before, because of how long the break has been, mostly.
Yeah.
Because I think so many of these players haven't had the chance since the World Juniors, for a lot of them, to play for Canada at this high of a level.
Okay.
Or the fair. US or Sweden. Like I think that's where the motivation comes from.
To be honest with you, like I've kind of said it. Like it's the same thing that I just said like a little bit ago. I almost hope Canada loses just to get a kick in the ass, because I think we really need it right now. Because I don't think you realize how good the US are and how good and how much better they're going to be.
They should be favored to win.
They are by far the favorite. I still think, though, just the fact that even I am able to look at it and go, like, I pick Canada, I think that alone should be enough to hopefully... Because the Canadians in the dressing room, they grew up kicking everyone's ass in international competition. That's just how it's been. Canada is the top of the world in hockey, baby, and it's going to stay that way. It's not the case right now. The U.S. are the best. That is just true. You look at them on paper. This has almost turned into a little like Four Nations like predictions thing, but like preview. It almost worked out that way. But like the U.S. are absolutely the top of the world, and right now in this tournament, Canada is the only team that can stop them. I just hope they're taking it seriously, because I swear to God, if McDavid doesn't show up, if McKinnon doesn't show up, if Crosby doesn't show up, we're cooked. If that offense ain't scoring 4 goals a game, we're going to fucking lose it. It's simple as that. Like, the only thing that they have going for them in this tournament. I mean, we're not going to get another podcast out before the tournament starts. Hell, this might not even get out before the tournament starts. But, like, fuck. If that offense ain't rolling, we are so cooked. Like, it's as simple as that. Jordan Binnington is the goalie, for fuck's sake. He's got an 895 goals against save percentage. We're so cooked. We're so cooked. Anyway, there's my rant. There's 1,000 reasons Canada shouldn't win this tournament, but it's damn hard to bet against McKinnon, Crosby, and McDavid on a power play. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how it goes tomorrow against Sweden. Obviously, that's not the name brand game, but that'll still be a tough test for them.
That's probably just as big of a game, in my opinion. I think that's going to be the biggest kind of showing for what we should expect out of Canada. Because in my opinion, if you look at Sweden and you look at Canada, there's a lot of reasons that I think that the gold medal or the championship game for this tournament is going to be the U.S. and Sweden. I don't know if that's that crazy of a take. Sweden's good. They have better goaltending. Their defense is arguably
That's
just
true.
as good. The only place that they just don't quite hold a candle is that offense. And I mean, defense wins championships. I trust Allmark a whole hell of a lot
Yeah.
more than I trust Binnington. So I think it's gonna be really interesting. I think I don't know. I think no matter what way this goes, that 2026 Olympics I cannot wait for, because I
Yeah,
really do
that'll
think
be
that
good.
this is a precursor and it's gonna light a lot of storylines. Either Canada's gonna win and suddenly just like that, it's the U.S. with a candle under their ass, and we might see just I don't even know what we'd see in that 2026 Olympics out of them, but Canada is gonna have to really show us something here if they want to win. In my opinion, I think it's gonna be. I could talk about this forever. I think it's so fucking fun. I might be the one person on the planet who's excited for this tournament, but fuck, it's gonna be so cool.
I don't know. I think it's like drumming up a lot of excitement. Like even speaking personally, I really haven't been following hockey all that much, and I mean, part this year, partially it's because what I normally do is I watch football to death, and then then I get
Right.
more into my hockey watching phase. But I also feel more motivated to watch this than I have about like any Flames game, just because I think it's so much more unique. I mean, like
Sure.
the Flames will play every other day, but I haven't watched Canada's best players play international hockey. I didn't watch the World Cup when it happened. So the last time I watched the world's best players on Canada on an international stage was when I was 10 years old, and my dad woke me up at like 4 a.m. or whatever it was
I
to
think that's a
watch Canada
universal
versus Sweden.
experience. The only
Yeah,
difference is I
yeah.
think I woke up my dad. I think it was the other way around. Because trust me, little 10-year-old Simon was ready to rock and roll for that gold medal game.
Yep.
I was so hyped to watch that. But as someone who did watch the 2016 World Cup, just didn't. In my opinion, like, I don't know if other people feel the same, but I can say that I am a lot more hyped up for this than I was for the 2016 World Cup. Just because of the
It
fact
felt a
that,
little bit gimmicky.
yes, yes. And while I will say that I think this is just as gimmicky, like, I think it is the same level of gimmicky, I do think that the amount of time we've had to wait for it kind of helps. I think you're
Yes.
allowed to be
Yes.
gimmicky when you've had
When
to
it's
wait
been
this
like
long.
10 years. Yeah.
Like, holy fuck, it actually kind of has been 10 years, huh? God.
I know we're old.
Yeah, apparently.
Um,
Apparently, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Back in
whatever.
my day.
Back in my day, when they had the Team North America. Oh, that Team North America team would be so nuts now if they made that. Like, the same players all on the same team. That'd be the stupidest team ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had that thought not that long ago. Like, it's they had so many guys. But yeah, regardless, we've been talking for 30 minutes, and this was supposed to be an outro.
Oh, holy shit. Well, speaking of Olympics, I mean, we've talked about the Olympics kind of ad nauseum. And you say we're focused on the 2026 Olympics and the return of international hockey to what it was before. But what I'm focused on is LA 2028 with the introduction of flag football. And now you may say, oh, well, I'm excited for that because I get to see, like maybe Pat Mahomes or a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson lead the U.S. and douse every team 200-0. Well, I say no, no, no. I say what I'm excited for is for Michael fucking Penix to lead the U.S. team. You think Mahomes is going to douse people 200-0? Penix douses them 500-0. This right here in front of me is the future of the American flag football Olympic team.
That's fucking America's
Michael
ass.
Penix. That is America's ass. You know it. I know it. Penix better have a warm ass. See you next week.